Murder, She Watched contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion is advised. Murder, She Watched is for entertainment purposes only. Hi, Couch Detectives. Welcome to Murder, She Watched, the podcast where we solve crimes and murders and unsolved mysteries from our couches. My name's Amy Archer. I'm your host, and I'm here today with Kyla. Hi, Kyla.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Couch Detectives.
How are you today?
I'm good. As I told Amy, I have an unexpected day off, so
This is lovely.
it's amazing. It's a
Yeah.
lovely surprise.
Yeah. Guys, we're covering Unsolved Mysteries today. We're going to do the whole volume 1, which is the reboot on Netflix. This was Kyla's idea. I think it's fantastic.
I'm so excited.
And this is going to be your try before you buy. If you want to hear the rest of the series, just scoot on over to Patreon where we're doing this. We'll be doing this over there on Tuesdays, and we're doing the staircase on Thursdays, which if it ever ends, it'll be too soon. I mean, I just need to keep going.
It's one that can go forever. I agree.
Yes.
I
And
agree.
Becca and I have already decided our next dive is going to be the Murdaugh family.
Good.
So
Yes.
we're
That's
gonna
a
do
very
it.
good move. That one is just as interesting.
Well, there's something about, pompous Southern men that we just need to tackle here.
Yes, and Alex or the whole his name, you hear both. He is a different breed of Michael.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. First of all, he actually has money,
That's
unlike
the
Michael
thing.
Pearson.
He's actually got real liquid cash.
Unlike Michael Pearson, who thinks he has money.
He has pretend money. He has Michael play money.
So when you suggested doing Unsolved Mysteries, I was like, oh, I don't know if I ever saw it. I went into my Netflix account. I watched every single one of these.
That was so funny when you were looking at those and you're like, wait, I started this.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, this Rey Rivera, I know this case.
Yep. It came back, right?
It came right back. And then, like, I sent you that little picture. We were in San Francisco, and my hotel overlooked, like, another part of the hotel that had a rooftop that looked just like
it. Looked exactly like it, because at first I thought that's what you had sent me. And then when I saw you said it was the view, I was like, oh, God. No bodies, though.
Yeah. Just in case you guys can't get enough of Kyla and I together, we're going to be together again tomorrow we're going to do Drew Peterson.
I'm so excited.
I mean, at this point, every woman, man, child should know to stay away from people with the last name Peterson. No offense to those of you not named Michael, Scott, or Drew.
Just watch out and just, keep an eye out.
Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. If you're getting engaged and your partner's last name is Peterson, okay, create the Dateline binder right away. Get it going.
Yes. If you haven't seen that TikTok or reel or
you can
whatever,
shape the narrative of your murder. You absolutely can.
Just be prepared.
Yeah.
That's one of my best friend grew up in the Chicago suburbs, and I was just texting her this morning about Drew Peterson and how much she remembers about it, and she said it was literally everywhere. So I'm so excited.
Well, it's on Tubi, and it's called like Drew Peterson, an American Murder Mystery or something like that.
Which those are good. Have you watched any of those?
I have not. No.
I'm a fan. I like those because they have some. There's a really good one on Chandra Levy, which that's a
that's a case.
That's another good mystery.
All right. So speaking of mystery, shall we dive in?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I wish we could have the music, the unsolved music, but I'm sure we would get in so much trouble.
Yeah. This is Unsolved Mysteries Volume 1, Episode 1, airing on Netflix in 2020, Mystery on the Rooftop. And boy, is this a mystery.
This is wild. This is very wild.
This is a mystery, but I think, okay, so let's just talk about what did you feel going into it? Like, before you did further research, before you really gave it a lot of thought, like what was your initial, like, this is what happened?
My initial thought is that Rey got in over his head. I kind of think a lot of what his wife thought was something happened that he didn't mean to be a part of, and then something bad happened. The murder. I did not think he was suicidal.
My initial response was murder, but I think I've landed somewhere else.
I agree.
I have to say, Rey's wife.
Oh, man.
She's a smoke show, right?
Beautiful.
She is a lady of a certain age now, like
Yes.
us.
Mhm.
She's beautiful. And
She's
did she ever remarry? Do we know, or did she
I
just
think
kind of
so. From what I
good
looked
for
up
him?
online, I don't think she did, and she was just the epitome of heartbreak.
Yeah.
It was
When
so
she
sad.
said, I came into the city with everything and left with nothing." Ugh,
Gave me goosebumps,
I
and, like,
know.
they didn't even really wanna be there necessarily,
Yeah, it
like,
kind of reminds
ugh.
me of, if you hear the Ramseys talk, they talk about their time in Boulder like that, like,
Mhm.
just, they left just completely devastated. Ugh.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, so, we open with Allison, Rey Rivera's wife, talking
Mhm.
about their wedding in Puerto Rico, and we meet Rey's brother, Angel, who's amazing.
Everybody in his family was awesome.
He says Rey and Allison's wedding was one of the happiest times they ever had as a
Mhm.
family. But then Rey disappeared and then allegedly committed suicide. Allison does not believe it. This is the setup for the episode.
Mhm. The intro there.
Boy, they have a good way of telling a story.
Don't they?
They
They
do.
do. It's captivating from the jump.
Yeah. So Allison tells us, and I didn't realize why this would be important, but it's important later, that Rey was 6'5", 260 pounds, and he was a water polo player. So he had very broad shoulders and a thin waist.
He was huge.
He was a big guy.
6'5"
6'5"?
is tall. I mean,
That's
we're both short. I'm 4'11".
really?
Yeah.
Oh, aren't you adorable? I'm
Uh,
5'1".
well, I'd say I'm
Oh,
5 feet tall, but I am
you
not.
need to come with me then to a meetup because Becca and Amanda
Yes.
tower over me.
Yes, and then we can do like a pyramid.
Yeah. Yes. So Ray's mom says, Ray was very funny. He was like always cracking jokes. I mean,
Yeah.
the classic, like beloved by his family, right?
Yeah, and it seems so genuine, not just
Hmm.
like, oh,
No,
obligatory,
no.
they seemed so close.
The wedding video's beautiful that we
Oh,
see.
it's a
And
gorgeous
I
wedding.
mean, married on a beach in Puerto Rico, you can't beat that.
It was perfect.
And his dream was to be a writer and director. And Allison says film was everything to him, but they
Yeah.
struggled to make a living in Southern California. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can imagine. I wouldn't even my Midwestern self would be like, "How do no,
No.
I'm not in Kansas anymore."
So Ray turned to a friend from high school, Porter Sansbury. This guy.
Even the name.
This guy. I know.
Mhm.
I know. And his
He
real
was
first name
destined.
is like Frank. So
Yeah,
it's like
and
Frank Porter Sansbury. Why would
he
you
chose to go
choose
by Porter.
Porter?
It says a
Yeah,
lot, doesn't it?
it does. So they were buds. They played water polo together. We see later, like they even went to prom together. Like they were very
Yes.
good friends.
Friends since 15, that's a lot of history.
It's a lot of history. Porter was a big finance guy who had a company, I'm sorry, it's Stansberry. I said Stansberry before. Stansberry.
Yeah,
Stansberry
it's
Associates that
mhm,
wrote financial newsletters, and he wanted Ray to come and write for him in Baltimore. So
mhm.
Allison says we made a pact that we would live in Baltimore for 2 years.
That's it, yep.
Mhm.
Hard out.
So they move into their home in December 2004. May 16th, 2006, Allison's on a business trip. She says, Ray got up with me, made me breakfast. We exchanged I love yous. I
Mhm.
left. I was on the road. That was the last time I saw
Bye.
him.
Yeah, normal day.
Yep. So she finishes her day and she's calling him and he doesn't answer. Now, this is 2006. So we did have
Mhm.
smartphones, right?
We did, but I did not have a smartphone in 2006.
I
I
can't
just had a regular
remember.
cell phone. But I did get a smartphone kinda late. I was holding out on that.
Well, you
Um,
still don't even have an Apple
I
product.
know, I'm a
How dare
crusty old
you?
hippie in my
Mm-hmm.
soul. I know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those Android
It's okay.
assholes.
It's okay.
It makes
Sorry.
everyone so mad.
So this was weird too. Not weird, but they have a house guest staying
I
with them.
wanted
And
to
I'm
discuss
like,
this.
can we talk more about this, please? Like,
They
what did this
glossed this.
person hear or say or talk about? Or they gloss
Yeah.
right over this.
Her colleague? They don't even really say friend, she says colleague.
Yeah, maybe they were
Claudia.
renting the space out.
Yeah, like, was she just, like, there for a weekend? Was she there? I mean, and it sounds like she wasn't interacting with Ray really at all.
Yeah, no, we really have no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
So the house guest, Claudia, says Around 6 o'clock, Ray got a call and left the house in a hurry, and he's not
Mhm.
here. Next morning, 5:30 in the morning, she calls Allison and says he never came home.
Ugh.
Allison's very concerned.
Yeah, that's scary. That's one of those stomach falls into your butt moments.
100%. So she
Yeah.
rushes home and she sees there's a can of soda still opened,
Mhm.
a bag of chips. So he was like clearly having a snack,
He was in the
a
middle of
snacky
something.
snack.
Yeah, good
And
snack.
his Invisalign's there, which is
Mhm.
and a bunch of lights are left on. And Angel and their friends all rush to
Mhm.
Ray and Allison's home to, set up a headquarters.
Everybody
And
thinks this is off.
unlike Scott Peterson's headquarters, where they're looking for Lacey and Scott's wandering around calling Amber Frey.
They got
Um,
ribs.
yeah,
Did you see
yeah.
they got ribs? I always ugh.
I know. Unlike that, we actually see this family working real hard and being very upset. And Allison
Immediately.
is like just devastated doing
She has
this.
thrown herself 100% into this, like,
hmm
every fiber of her. Ugh.
So Porter puts up a reward of $1,000. I did find out that later he upped it to $5,000, when they
Mhm.
were searching.
When the heat was on.
There's no evidence of credit card use or cash withdrawal from banks. So, like, they
Yeah.
don't know where he is. And on day 6, they finally find his car.
Ugh. Her
And it's
parents.
her parents found it. And
Yes,
they
by
made it seem
happenstance.
like, yeah, they made it seem like an accident. Like, mom looked over at dad
Yeah.
and, like, happened to see it beyond
Yeah, and it's
his
just like,
face.
that's it.
Wow.
That in Baltimore, I mean, downtown Baltimore, I've been there a few times.
Mhm.
It's I mean, that's kind of like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, it's a big city.
Yeah.
So there was a ticket on the car, which helped them to track it down to this was parked the night he left the house.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. So the parking lot was near the old Belvedere Hotel, which is now condominiums,
Yes.
and also kind of near Stansberry Associates.
It's all in the same district, they said.
Can I just nitpick something for a minute? Don't you feel like it should be
Always.
Stansberry and Associates?
Yes, it doesn't flow well. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
like
just
it.
Stansberry Associates. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as formal. Which
No.
did you watch Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
I just kept thinking about that. The
Oh, yeah.
Stratmont Oak I'm
I
word
saw it a long time
salading that.
ago, so I'm not gonna remember details, but I
Love that
imagine
movie.
that Stansberry Associates looks like Wolf of Wall
Yes,
Street in
I
there.
kept
Mhm.
thinking that, and when we talk about after research
Yeah,
later,
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
I just kept thinking about that.
So, reporter Jane Miller
Mhm.
for the local news was covering the case, and she says Ray was 32 at the
Yeah.
time that he vanished, and there was no evidence he was trying to leave. He sort of just vanished. His
Right.
cell phone was not recovered in the car, nothing was there. Three of his coworkers just happened to go up into the parking garage next to the Belvedere Hotel, and they
Mhm.
look over the edge and they see a hole
Mhm.
with flip-flops next to it. I think if it wasn't for the flip-flops, they may not have thought anything of it.
I don't think I would have.
No, it's a very small hole.
Yeah. I
It
probably wouldn't
doesn't
have even seen it, if
yeah,
I'm
it
being
doesn't
honest.
really look like anything of note. Like, it's weird. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's not like big jagged edges or anything either.
Mm-mm. Gary Shivers was the concierge at the time, and he lets police into the space, which was not used anymore, and they find Ray's body.
Oh,
Maria, Ray's mother, broke my heart because in this moment, like, what an unbelievable sacrifice for this woman to make. Like, in this moment, she's caring for Allison.
they're such
Her
lovely people.
baby gone, and she's like, Allison was crying rivers, and I just had to hold her and be there for her. I thought that is lovely.
That is what she was so, like, graceful and strong while talking throughout this. His whole family was. They were all just so good. I don't
I
know how
agree.
else to say it. I really liked
And
them.
I really wanted answers for them. They deserve
Yes,
it.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. Yes, and they
Yeah.
all feel this so hard.
Yeah. So Gary tells us that the Belvedere was the place to be in South Baltimore.
Yeah,
Anybody who was anybody stayed there. And he worked there for 30 years. And there's not a lot of funny in these shows, nor should there be.
of course
But
not.
sometimes I just pick up on weird
Oh
things.
yeah.
And Gary goes, I had a lot of great memories of the Belvedere, a lot of great memories, real great memory. Well, except for that one, except for that finding Ray's body. And I was like,
Finding that.
yeah, one big moment, Gary.
That's a big one, Gary.
It's a big one. So we meet Michael Bear. He is the
Yes.
responding detective, and they get out there and they're like decomposition, sorry,
Mhm.
really prevented them from seeing like if he had been beaten or if there were any visible bruises.
That stuff happens so fast.
But he was really beat up from this fall. And so the detective was like, either he was beaten
Mhm.
or he came from a very high height. And
Yeah.
I just want to say it does occur to me how callous this sounds. We're talking about a human being, but like, you know, you got to kind of think about
You
the physics of this
You
and
do.
stuff.
You have to be objective about that part of it. You just do,
Yeah.
because, I mean,
It's
there is
hard
some
though.
science behind it. It is. It's tough.
Yeah. So did he, okay, so here's the questions.
Mhm.
Did he come off the very top of the Belvedere, which is much higher than this
Ooh.
other building? I mean, let's try to give, if you didn't watch it, let's try to give people perspective. I'm going to say maybe 10 or 12 floors difference.
At least. I'm not good
Yeah.
at gauging things like that, but I mean, it's pretty significant.
It's pretty significant. And so the hole was 40. Now they get into physics and
Yeah. No,
you
I'm
got to
not a
buckle in for this.
Yeah.
Okay. The hole was 45 feet out from the roof.
Yeah.
So the detective says even a running jump was virtually impossible, especially since he was in flip flops
Exactly.
and the flip flops went with him. Don't
Exactly.
forget.
That's and I mean, I know he was an athlete,
Yeah, but
but he
wow.
was 32 at that time, and, like, that's I don't know.
Yeah. Allison says Ray was terrified of heights and she finds it very hard to believe that he would have willingly gone up to this. And it is high. I mean, it is.
Yes. To even look at makes me feel weak in the knees.
I'm going to pause for 1 second and find out how many stories is in the Belvedere Hotel. Hold on.
So I'm not good at that
Okay.
stuff.
So it only has 13 floors.
Okay, see?
Mm.
That's why we
Okay.
look things up.
So the other space was probably, I'm going to say, floor 3 or 4.
Yeah. That would
Okay.
be, I mean, if we're gauging,
Okay.
I
All
could be
right.
talked into anything.
So, I mean, that is 13 floors is high up.
And if you're afraid of heights,
Mhm.
that is like
Mhm.
that's pretty darn high.
So
I can't even look out windows.
there's another theory of did he come off of the top of the parking garage? So the
Mhm.
parking garage is 20 feet higher than this
Mhm.
space. Now this I felt like could have happened
This is
because
Mitchell's running theory.
here's so I read this theory on Reddit and it kind of convinced me. If it was murder,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
could see him being hit by a car, which would break his flip-flop and knock him out of it,
Yeah.
and then go over the edge. I don't know if he necessarily went in the hole at this point. Maybe.
I mean, probably, and,
They would have
like,
had to hit him hard.
hard, and to cause those massive injuries, which when they go over the, autopsy report later,
Yeah.
he had some injuries that I mean, mechanism of injury is
Yeah.
huge. That's a huge thing, and you can't lie about that kinda stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I see that at work all the time with fractures, and people lie about how they get their fractures.
Oh, of course.
And we know,
Well,
like,
and
I
then
know you punched something, but you tell me you fell. That's okay.
that's okay. And
That's
then
your
people
journey.
are saying, like, there would have been skid marks. I'm like, not if they didn't stop.
Exactly,
I
because I'm
don't
sure yeah,
I
and
don't know.
he's not gonna leave him, and
I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
But it is a good theory just because of what we know about people being knocked out of their shoes when they get hit by a car. And
Absolutely.
we all learned that in the Karen Reed trial. Thank you very much.
Man, such a
Okay.
vessel of knowledge.
So, did he come off the 11th floor is another possibility. So, the 11th floor is I guess it has a ledge around it. So like that's why they chose that floor to think
Yes.
about that he could have, But the key to that is he would have had to go through a private residence.
Yes, and it was a very narrow ledge. It was more
Very
just like a
narrow.
decorative ledge. It wasn't they said it was not a catwalk ever meant to be walked
Mm-mm.
on. And someone who is terrified of heights,
Yeah, that's gonna be
you're
a
like, you
tough
could
one.
not get me out there.
No, no.
You'd have to drag me.
It reminded me of, like, something you'd see on The Sopranos. Sopranos.
Absolutely.
Oh my god,
Mhm.
why'd I say Sopranos? The Sopranos.
You're churching
Like,
it up.
I could see, Tony, like, making somebody get out there on
Yes.
that ledge and
Yes.
being terrified.
Absolutely, and to tie things back to Dexter, as I always do, there is a
Mm,
thing on Dexter
mhm.
where that's how one of the killers he forces people to do things like that.
Okay, see?
So
So, they find his cell phone on the roof near the hole. It's
mhm,
completely intact, not even a cracked screen. Now, remember, she shows us the cell
mhm,
phone. Is
mhm.
it a flip phone? Can you remind me? Or is it like a
I don't
Nokia
I
type?
can't quite tell. I don't know if it is one of those little compact, like, the little flippy I can't tell. I don't
I
know.
think it looked like a Nokia to me.
Yeah,
I could
like
be
the
wrong.
Nokia brick, the
Mhm.
classic brick.
So they also find, like I said, one flip-flop that's broken and his
Mhm,
glasses are there
mhm.
without a scratch. Without a scratch.
That's suspicious.
They were staged, right? That was staged.
That has to be. That is one of the big things that made me have, like, "Whoa," from way back.
But here's my question to you. Why, if you're going to stage this to make it look like he jumped, because let's face it, they're going to make it look like he jumped off the roof of the Belvedere.
Of course.
Why not throw the glasses down in the pit? Why put them on the roof?
Right, like, why wouldn't one would think you would just throw them down
Mhm.
again, unless you look at it through that, like, Sopranos lens of, like, that's more sinister to me. Like, "Oh, here's the glasses and the phone." Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I don't
Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah.
That's what's hard. This is a tough one because there's I don't know.
You could go round and round and round
I have
with it.
flip-flopped on it several
No
times in the
pun
past few
intended.
days.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
So, Allison tells us that, and she shows us the flip-flops. She still
Mhm,
has them, and she said there
mm,
are drag marks on them.
mhm.
Interesting.
Yes.
So, the detectives think that everything here looks staged, and what wasn't found on him was his money clip and his ID, and they were never recovered.
Interesting. Mhm.
Stephen Janis, an investigative journalist, says he wandered through the entire building, asking anyone and everyone if they
Mhm.
saw or heard anything, and no one saw anything. Angel says it's hard to walk, like, you don't just walk into the Belvedere and get up to the roof. You have to go
Right.
through all these back staircases. Like, somebody knew if he came from the top of the roof,
Yeah.
somebody would have to know how to get there.
Somebody gave him access to get to that
Mhm.
point, and you would imagine there's probably decent security at a place like this.
Yeah, you would think.
I mean, it seems like it's higher end.
Well, and then, of course, the fucking camera on the rooftop wasn't working.
Or isn't that just the way it
Ah,
always goes? Are they
always,
ever working when you need them to be working?
always.
It's insane.
I told you my mother has a thing with crime dogs. Now, I know that crime smelling dogs are real, that they've
Yes.
solved cases. My mother believes they are useless and should never be used again.
I get it.
My mother's hatred for crime sniffing dog, not hatred, she doesn't
No.
hate dogs, but, like, she's like, "Oh, they're bringing in the dogs, nothing's gonna get solved." I
You
feel
know
that way about CCTV a lot of times. Like, they're
yes.
never working when you need
Or
them to.
if it is working, it's already recorded over itself because it's
Mhm,
on a set timer thing.
mhm.
No, and to talk about your mom, listen, I get it. I want the dogs to solve the crimes. I love dogs so
Yeah,
much. I love
yeah.
them. But a
They
lot of the
don't.
time it's just like, maybe. It's just I would not like convict someone based on that evidence.
People are gonna come for us and say,
Yes.
10,000 cases have been
I
solved by crime sniffing
know.
dogs. That's great. I'm just saying, in my experience of watching murder shows, a lot of
Yes.
times when they bring the dogs in, the dogs don't find anything. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
You know
Exactly.
what it is, Kyla? The dogs need a union, and they need better representation on these
All right,
shows.
let's do unionize the
Mhm.
dogs. I support
Yes,
it.
yes. So, he wasn't caught on any of the interior cameras that were
At
working
all.
either. No one gave any indication that Ray was ever in that building.
He was just like a ghost moving through there. Nobody saw him.
Nope. So the police are kind of like, this has to be suicide. There were no
Mhm.
drugs, nothing in
Mhm.
his system. Allison says, and again, we just talked about this with Ellen Greenberg. You don't suicidal ideation does not have, yes, I guess there's some behaviors that you can kind of cobble together that are
Yeah,
characteristics, but overall there is no clear way to see it. That's what makes it
100,000,000%.
so insidious and scary.
Yes. I could not agree with you more.
So Allison saying like he seemed happy and we were playing it kind of means nothing. Like I understand that means a lot to her, and I'm
And
not.
she
Yeah, she needs it.
absolutely.
I'm not
I
taking
want
that
her to
away from
have that.
her.
No, I totally get it though, because
But
I
like
mean,
we
and you
don't
hear
know.
stories a lot where, people go about their day. It was a normal day, everything was
Mm-hmm.
happy and fine,
Yep.
and then it happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I'm glad you're mentioning that because his brother specifically, he said there was no classic marks of
Yeah.
suicidal
And that is
ideation.
said around Ellen Greenberg a lot. And
Yes.
it's like, okay. And I do not believe Ellen Greenberg committed suicide.
Yes,
Let me
I don't
just say
either.
this.
Yeah, I don't either.
But when they're like, there were no signs of suicidal ideation. Yes, there was. She was like suffering from
Yeah.
extreme anxiety and going to a
Yes.
therapist and talking, like there were some signs.
I think there's just so many people still who just don't understand that it's not always the classic
Yeah.
thing that you expect to see,
Yeah.
you know?
So like I understand why Allison again needs this, and let's let her have it, but
Absolutely.
everybody has an internal life and you have no idea
Mhm.
what that internal life is
That
happening in there.
Yep. Yes.
So the medical examiner now says, we're not going to close this case
Mhm.
because the way, maybe you can explain this as a medical person, the
Yeah.
way his shins were broken did not match a fall. What could that mean?
So that's super interesting because when there's different types of it's called fracture morphology, which is the shape of the fracture, like if it's busted up into several pieces, if
Mm-hmm.
it comes through, and you can tell you're going to get certain types of fractures from certain mechanisms of injury. Like your classic one that a lot of people think of as a spiral fracture, those tend to come from like a
Do I look
twisting
as
injury.
confused as
Yeah,
I
you do.
feel?
And I know this, you're like, sure.
Sure.
Yeah, and to have an open fracture of your tibias, your shin bones, which meant, it came through the skin, to me,
Oh, is that what it means? It cracked
that
and busted
yep,
through the skin?
it busted through the skin, and, like, recovering from that is a bitch. Oh my gosh, that is an injury that nobody I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking a year of your life. But, he had to have had some intense impact on his legs. Now, I think that could have happened from like if he landed directly on his feet,
Oh,
that would
yeah.
that would explain that
Yeah.
like boom.
Yeah.
But that is important and he had several injuries that
He had a lot of injuries,
like
and
bad injuries.
she leaves it open. She's like, I'm leaving this undetermined because I want, very much like Philadelphia should have done with Ellen Greenberg, say there is
Mhm.
not enough evidence to say either way, so I'm leaving it undetermined.
This was like good for this medical
Yeah,
examiner for
I
doing the
agree.
right thing.
So, meanwhile, Allison is searching his home office and she finds a note taped behind the computer.
The note.
It's
Mm.
very long and typed out, and I have a little bit of it, okay?
It's very, very interesting.
Okay, so the beginning is like, brothers and sisters, right now around the world, volcanoes are erupting. What an awesome sight. Virtue whom virtue unites, death will not separate. That was a well played game. Congratulations to all who participated. I hope you enjoyed it. But it was time to wake up, so here I am. I would like to welcome those who accepted our invitations for membership during the game. We couldn't have done it without you. I look on this endeavor to find the truth, but for its own sake, in accepting this quest for truth, I hoped to awake myself with the help of others into a man ready and worthy to receive it. I don't know what this is.
It's rambling.
And
He's just kind of rambling.
then he has a list of things. So now that the game is finished, I expect the council to recompensate those who have given and to this venture. So
Mhm.
this person took a screenshot and transcribed it, but they're like, there might be some errors. So
Of course.
we're
Yeah.
it's along with myself, these players should be made 5 years younger by the council. Rivera, Allison Jones, Elena Rivera, Angel Rivera, my dad, Angel Rivera, my brother, Brad Hogg, Porter Stansberry, Brothers and Sisters, Our Land of Achievement has seen so many, like, it just sounds like I'm saying words, right?
It does. It's a word salad.
Mm-hmm. He says the human genome, genetic engineering, cloning, Sudoku, the Ford cell, overnight express shipping, Wi-Fi, internet, Ethernet, MPEG, JPEG, MP3. Like what?
It's literally just stuff. It's just like he dumped word tiles out on a Scrabble board.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very peculiar.
I'd like to briefly mention some movies, books, and music I've found inspiring and compelling. I'd like to meet any of you who helped contribute to these works. The Matrix 1, 2, and 3, The Family Man, National Treasure, The Da Vinci Code, Eyes Wide Shut. Are we seeing a common theme here?
Mm-hmm.
Fight Club, Star Wars, Minority Report, The Game, Payback. And specifically, let me say that I expect M. Night Shyamalan to continue coming up with great ideas and great movies. Well, that did not age well, Ray Rivera. I'm sorry to tell
No,
you.
he sure stopped.
I certainly enjoyed The Sixth Sense, The Village, The Other, Signs, and then like I don't know. I
It's
just it's
it's a
odd.
lot. It's not. It's like a stream of consciousness on paper.
And I can't even imagine poor Allison because she's trying to figure this out.
100%.
And to me, this reads like someone who has had some kind of psychosis, like a break,
Big time.
and
Yeah.
is just rambling. Because then you start to see, and I mean, this is always not a good sign. Like the writing everywhere. He's writing everywhere, like filling notebooks and stuff like that.
Can you imagine stumbling upon that? I mean, we all. I mean, The Shining and his
Yeah,
Stanley Kubrick thing.
yeah.
Stanley Kubrick is this is all just so fascinating to me, and we'll never have answers, and that's what's frustrating. And his fascination with the Freemasons and
Yeah, yeah.
all of this, I don't know, it's just so fascinating.
So the FBI says this is weird, but it doesn't feel like a suicide note. And I agree with that.
No, yeah, it
I
doesn't
agree.
sound like a suicide note.
He left the house in a hurry. He didn't take anything with him. They asked Claudia, and then Claudia leaves too, which is kind of weird.
I agree.
Like, why didn't they interview her for this?
Yeah, she's like allegedly the last person to be around him. Why would she not be questioned?
So he left the house in a hurry, like I said, and Claudia said she heard the phone ring
Mhm.
and he pushed off his desk, like pushed his chair back
Mhm.
and said, "Oh." And
Mhm.
then he ran out of the house and the police traced the call and it was from Stansberry Associates.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it's from the switchboard. And now we hear the minute the body is located, Stansberry puts a gag order on all of their employees.
Yep.
And Stansberry gets himself a lawyer right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
The cops say, well, the detective working the case says what this case needs is a task force and a grand jury with subpoena power. You know what I need? I need a grand jury with subpoena power.
Oh, that'd
I
be
want to just start subpoenaing people.
Oh, yeah. Let's find a way to make that happen.
Yeah, like just for any reason. Like I just want to
Subpoenaed.
subpoena, I don't know,
Yeah.
anybody and just find
Yeah,
out what's
that's
going
catch
on
me
here.
on a bad day.
Like
I'm
I want to
subpoenaed.
subpoena Brad Pitt and say, "Did you sleep with Angelina Jolie before you divorced Jennifer Aniston? I need to know. Were you banging on the set
Yes.
of Mr. and Mrs. Smith?"
Oh, you know he
Just something
was.
so stupid like
No,
that.
but
I
I
need
get
to
it.
know.
There's hills I need to die on. We could
I
involve the Brown family in this.
Yes. Oh,
Subpoena
yes.
Cody.
Yep, absolutely. But
Zona.
they don't have it and Porter would not work with them at all. Like Porter just fucked off to I don't know where.
Immediately, and that's his best friend.
Yeah, and that's what is really, getting sticking in the craw of Allison and Maria, Ray's mother, is like, this is your best friend, and you have
That
all
you
these
moved out here.
resources.
Yes. All the money in the world, and he just that's a big connection. A friend from 15 to just immediately be like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's not my
Mm-hmm.
problem. I don't know."
Yep. Yep. So now we get a little background on Porter and what he's been up to. Okay.
Mhm.
So we learned that Ray was working on a newsletter that Porter used to put out called the Rebound Report. And what it was is stocks that had gone bust
This was
and were
fascinating.
coming back. So it was like a
Mhm.
stock tip situation. And apparently, before Ray started working for them, Stansberry put out a tip for a Russian company that
Mhm.
was going to discover uranium or something like that. And it went bust. And the investors were angry. And the SEC steps in and charges them with fraud and fines them over $1 million, which is a lot of money.
That's a big chunk. Yep.
So the company argued that it was their First Amendment right to give this advice, but Allison says, this is what Ray was sent in there to do, like clean up Porter's
Mhm.
reputation.
Make Porter look good again. This was so interesting. I mean, I don't know
Mhm.
a ton about that world, but
I don't
I don't
either.
know how that would be, and they talk about the fraud. I mean, I see how you could charge that because you could say whatever you wanted, essentially.
Right, and it depends on what they used in that initial newsletter. Like, did they present facts for this company, striking
Yeah.
it rich or whatever that weren't true? Then that's fraud,
Right.
right?
Right. Exactly.
So she says about 2 weeks before Ray died, he was very worried, and 2 times during this period, their alarm went off at night.
This was very weird.
The last time it went off was 2 nights right before he died.
Yeah.
She believes somebody was trying to get in the house. Allison believes that Ray had some kind of information and that he was murdered because of it. But what information? We don't know. Angel says he thinks it was about money, maybe that newsletter, like he's trying to tie it back to the work that Ray is doing.
Mhm.
Detective Byer was the only one, he says, on the police force at the time who thought this was not a suicide.
Yeah.
And they reassigned him very quickly.
Yeah, they're like, "No, thank you."
The case is unsolved currently, and they hope someone will see this and know something. And Allison, here's where she says, I came into the city with everything and I left with nothing.
My heart goes out to Allison.
Yeah, same. Angel says the family moved on, but not quite fully. And he
Mhm.
talks about, like, I moved on, I had 2 children, but I always think of Uncle Ray. It's very sad. It's very sad.
When I watched it again this morning for the,
Mhm.
4th time, I cried a little bit again from it because it's just, and I believe Allison, when she talks about how she loved him more than anything in the world,
Yeah.
I believe her. Like, you can tell she is just still
Did
so
she pull
broken.
it? Did she pull a Yoko Ono and just mourn him forever and never move on?
Maybe. I think
Maybe.
she might be.
Maybe. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the research that we
Mhm.
found. There is a definitive book on this. It's
Yes.
called An Unexplained Death: The True Story of a Body at the Belvedere, and it's by Makita Brotman,
And did you
who
see?
lived in the
Yeah.
Belvedere. Go ahead.
No, that's what I was gonna say. She lived in the Belvedere.
She lived on the 10th floor, and she's like,
Yes.
nobody came to my door and knocked on it and asked me if I saw anything.
Nobody, none of the neighbors, they did not talk to anybody that lived there to ask if they saw or heard anything. That
Kind
is
of weird,
insane.
right?
A little bit, a little
Hmm.
bit.
So before we get into the research, at the end of the documentary, did your stance change? Were you leaning one way or another? Like, where were you in terms of what you thought?
So the first time I watched this back in the day, I was all in that something bad happened.
Hmm.
The slant worked on me a little bit. I was like, I
Yeah.
think something shady was involved with a friend's business.
Yeah, me too.
M
I was like,
my Uh-huh.
again, don't put me on a jury, because I was like, okay, Porter, you're getting
Porter's
arrested for murder.
guilty,
Go to
yeah,
jail.
I know, right? And when I
Poor Porter.
watched it
Not poor
again,
Porter. He's probably an asshole, but
I
you
feel
know
like
what I
he's
mean.
still, yeah, probably not the best. I feel
He's
like we
being
wouldn't like
publicly
Porter.
maligned here. Yeah.
Yeah, which would be like a living hell,
Hmm.
which there's some that's something I wanted to talk about when we do this. I'm sure you probably read that article in the Baltimore Sun about him, his interview.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But, I don't necessarily think that something.
I'm of 2 minds. I'm leaning 60% towards he had a psychotic break
Yes.
and jumped off the roof and
Mhm,
committed suicide.
mhm.
I'm 40% somebody hit him in that parking garage and knocked him over the edge so hard that he went through a hole in the roof.
Do
That's
you
where I'm
think
at.
if it was that, do you think it was an intentional hit?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I would say, yes, if he was murdered, I would say I'm probably 40% that way too, because anything is possible.
Mhm.
And there's so many suspicious things that do make me raise an eyebrow. But I don't know. I've been more swayed towards the mental break.
Okay. So let's look at, I have this entire Reddit thread that is so long. I'm going to try not to read all of it.
I bet it's the same exact one I was looking at. I
Is
bet.
it the one Rey Rivera Mystery on the Rooftop missing details from Netflix episode?
I saw that one. Oh
Okay.
man, there was so much interesting stuff on there.
So this person, this Redditor, lived in Baltimore for 3 years and frequented the owl, another owl. The owl's involved, see?
The owls just keep appearing
Frequented
in your life.
the Owl Bar in the Belvedere, which is, what got them into this case. And
Mhm.
they read the book and read a bunch of articles. They have all their sources linked here. And
Respect.
they did a whole thing on what was left out of the documentary, which I think is, I'm always fascinated by what we leave out, because I used to tell
Same.
my students,
Mhm.
leaving things out, like a lie by omission, is a choice.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, let's see. In Makita, so Makita is the author of the book.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of references to the book here. In
Mhm.
Makita's book, she notes that Ray moved to Baltimore alone for 90 days prior to Allison moving there with him. And he was living in the Peabody Court Hotel, which is now Hotel Revival, also in
Mhm.
the Mount Vernon area. So it's only
Mhm.
like half a mile away from the Belvedere.
Okay.
And once Allison comes to Baltimore, they moved in with Porter, actually. But
Oh.
there wasn't enough space, so they decided to move in with Allison's aunt in Ellicott City. And then when Allison was not around, Ray would go out drinking with Porter. Porter liked all the finer things, fancier places, like
Uh-huh.
the Belvedere, like
Yeah.
these hotels that have the sky bars and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
This is why Allison was not concerned that Ray was out the night of his disappearance, figuring that he just went out with Porter.
Right.
So there's a little insight into that.
That's so interesting.
December 2004 is when they bought their home, and Ray becomes an assistant coach for the men's water polo team at Johns Hopkins. He also begins
That's
writing
cool.
his Midnight Polo screenplay. And then, okay, so that's kind of, he was in Baltimore longer than her.
Interesting. I did not know that part. I didn't see any of that.
Yeah. So in Makita's book, there are events that took place leading up to Ray's disappearance worthy of noting. So in 2004 summer, he leaves for Pirate Investor, where he worked with Porter, or he leaves writing for Pirate Investor, where he worked with Porter directly. He
Mhm.
took a $15,000 cash advance from Allison's credit card and
Oh,
created
shit.
cyber video production. Can you look up that word? Do you have your computer open?
Yes, what's up?
CEIBER. I need to know what that word means.
Cyber.
CEIBER.
Come on.
Because I feel like that means something.
Yes, is it an acronym? Oh, good lord.
Right. I don't know.
CEIBER. Then what?
That's it. That's the name of his production company. I don't see anything. I
I
think
don't
it's
either.
actually, it's a name.
Yeah, I'm
Cyber
seeing
Avila
nothing.
is a
Yeah,
Colombian
that's exactly
boxer.
what yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So that's
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. So it's a name.
Huh.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So he is then employed by Agora as a contractor or freelance worker. Allison and Ray put their Baltimore house up for sale with plans to move to California once sold. So he's getting ready to move out of the area. That's interesting.
Yes. And did
Hmm.
you see that Agora Publishing is like a giant conglomerate?
No.
It's a huge, so I was reading about this last night. Their headquarters is in Baltimore, and it's one of those just giant corporate beasts that owns all kinds of random
Okay.
subsidiaries. And
Okay.
Porter's Stansberry and Associates was one of their subsidiaries,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
interesting, isn't it?
Okay.
Mhm.
May 14th, 2 days before Ray disappeared, Alice and Ray go to church for a special service for Mother's Day. He then, once home, makes a call and leaves a voice message that Allison overhears. He says, "Hey, man, give me a call back. I finally got it all figured out." Now, again, this is coming from Allison.
Yes.
They find out it is Porter who he called, and Porter was unclear what it meant, or, that's at least what he told Angel when Angel asked him about it.
Yeah.
May 16th, the day of his appearance, he calls a video technician company to rent equipment for the weekend. That's interesting. This call
Okay,
was made around
I
4
have
p.m.
more about that
Okay, tell me.
from Reddit. Okay, so while poking around this subreddit, this guy posted this around 5 years ago, shortly after the Netflix, episode came out, and
Okay.
he was that guy. He was the video equipment rental guy who talked to
Oh,
Ray, and
okay.
he said that he had known Ray in a professional sense for ballpark of a year.
Mm-hmm.
He had a business where they rented video equipment, or you could come rent space there to do video editing. He also
Okay.
sold like electronics. It was a place like that. So he knew Ray on a professional level, and he said Ray was one of a few clients he had that would rent this giant, cumbersome, pain in the ass piece of equipment that he
Mm-hmm.
said they usually just use for demos. And Ray was um, one of the only people that would do that. And it was Ray, situation they're talking about was kind of last minute, because he
Hmm.
said to rent that, it was a big pain. So he needed a lot of notice, and Ray was doing it last minute. So he
So
said
he was annoyed.
he was annoyed, and he price gouged Ray because
Mm-hmm.
he said he assumed he would say no. And then Ray was like, let me see if I can make it happen.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
said
Interesting.
that when he talked to Ray, he seemed fine. He was not manic.
Mm-hmm.
He was not down. It was like very normal. But he said he was in a work bind for an editing project.
Okay. Interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And he also said that
Huh.
he does not recall being spoken to very much at all by a detective.
Oh, Jesus
Isn't
Christ.
that fucking crazy?
It's crazy. So in the documentary, we see that Ray supposedly gets this phone call, says, "Oh shit," pushes off from his desk and leaves. But what
Hmm.
they left out is that he comes back into the house like he had forgotten something and then leaves in Allison's car,
Hmm.
which
They
I
leave
thought
that
was
out.
interesting.
That's a big detail to leave out.
It's a big detail.
Yeah.
The letter, it was Angel, Ray's brother, who found the letter taped to the back of Ray's computer. In addition to the letter, there was a blank check drawn from Cyber Productions, which was Ray's production company that he
Yeah.
was building. Oh, I'm sorry. Here they say it's Cyba, Ceiba. It's a tree with spiritual meaning. Okay.
Okay. Okay. That makes
Um,
sense.
Let me see. So in Makita's book, she was able to obtain the FBI behavioral analyst comments who reviewed the note. So
That's so
basically they run
interesting.
it, past the BAC or BAU, and here we go.
Yeah.
The purpose of the analyst is to determine factors of a suicide victim. Within the comments, it was noted that Ray was financially sound with minimal debt. However, he had recently borrowed $15,000 for his production camera setup. Allison was unaware and perplexed when learning about this because she paid for the equipment on her own credit card and she had receipts to prove it. So
Interesting.
basically, he has this $15,000 in cash and nobody knows how. Okay.
Interesting.
Ray's computer, BLTV News in Baltimore, stated that there was a Word document open on Ray's computer with a story about greed, but there's no further details about that, and it's not
Huh.
mentioned any further.
Yeah.
In Makita's book, she mentions that there was a website open as well with the time the sun rose and set in Baltimore, which this Redditor says, I'll insert my opinion here. Many videographers are dependent on specific daylighting.
Yeah,
Yes.
that makes a lot of
Yes.
sense.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
His computer was taken from police for investigation. Okay, Makita's book says that she was in her apartment with her partner the night Ray disappeared, and they both heard a large crashing sound that even rattled her windows, which they thought was caused by a car accident. Makita looked out the window, didn't see anything, chalked it up to random city noises. She made note of this in her journal. It was significant enough to do that. This was at 10 p.m. She lived on the fifth floor with an east facing window that overlooked the roof with the hole.
I mean,
Mm,
that's very significant, I feel.
very significant.
That's very
Detectives
interesting.
detectives never asked her if she heard anything that night. In fact,
Nope.
they didn't question her at all.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
No, why?
All right.
It's no big deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's so much here. I don't know if you want me to read all of this
It's
online.
very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and did you get into any of the controversy surrounding Ray's mental state at the time? Because I
Not
saw
yet.
stuff that said there was some conflicting information. The Reddits.
Okay.
And this Baltimore Sun article I read, which if anybody wants to read it, I will tell you it's one of those where you get like it's a timed free read and then
Oh,
it goes
nice.
behind a
Okay.
paywall. So that's
Okay.
always fun.
I will say the one thing I did read that I forgot to mention is that Porter didn't come to any of his funerals or
Nothing.
memorial services, which
Mm-mm.
is real weird.
Yes, him and Allison have not spoken since June of 2006. They have had no contact.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he is insistent. He did an interview with the Baltimore Sun,
Porter did.
when yes, when the
Mhm.
Netflix series came out, because obviously he's getting dragged
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
because, documentaries have biases. We all know
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
And this one was obviously wanting us to kind of look at Porter with a side eye.
Right.
And was insisting, and another friend of theirs who wasn't mentioned in this at all, his name was Brad Hopman.
Okay.
They said that Ray had been struggling with his mental health, and they were
Okay.
insisting that he was having financial problems.
Okay. Yeah. I see a little bit of that here.
Yeah,
Allison confided to Makita that Ray owed $90,000 in debt when he died, but
that's
70K was for expenses to be reimbursed by Agora for the Oxford Club conference he was to provide video for.
which was that big project he was working on.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, and they were alluding to the fact that he was struggling, and it wasn't as happy and light as they were making it sound. Not that anything was up with him and Allison. They all said that everything really was really good there, but
Yeah. But as we all know, mental health, like mental illness, does
yeah,
not discriminate. You don't
100
have to be in a
million
bad
percent.
place to start having a breakdown.
Amen to that. They usually come out of nowhere.
Yep. One thing I will say is Ray did visit the Masonic Lodge in Baltimore the same day of his disappearance.
Mhm.
The individual he met with explained that Ray seemed completely normal, asked average questions for anyone inquiring about joining, and as the documentary states, he was also reading about the Freemasons as well. And many of the Baltimore police, belong to the Freemason group.
That's just a
It's
whole thing on
interesting.
its own, isn't it? I
Mm-hmm.
could talk about that. Well, and I was reading about they were talking about the corruption of the Baltimore police, which I mean, I kind of knew
Yes.
a little bit about. I mean,
Yeah.
surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Oh,
Surprise. Mm-hmm.
that's weird. But they were talking about that his friend Brad Hopman and Porter both said that he was pretty obsessed with the Freemason stuff.
Yeah.
And Brad said that Ray had called Brad a few times because I'm guessing Brad must be a Mason, is involved in it. And he said
Yeah.
uh, Ray was asking him questions about it kind of incessantly and alluded that he was like a little annoyed by it.
This is, that kind of, it is such a slippery slope with
Yeah.
conspiracy theory and mental illness. Like you can see today, currently in the world we're living in, a lot
Mhm.
of people, and there's usually like kind of a gateway that brings you in.
Yes.
Like I'm thinking specifically about Pizzagate and the violence that happened in the pizza shop, around
Mhm,
that whole
mhm. Oh
nightmare.
my god, I haven't thought about that in a while.
But like all it takes is you're listening to like one of these radio personalities who's, like an Alex
Oh,
Jones who's
I
talking, and you
yes.
trust them, and you start listening, and then you're like, well, wait, that does make sense. And then you turn to the internet and you start looking things up, and you're getting confirmation bias, right? You're finding your
Yes,
own circles.
100%.
And then the
Echo
the
chambers
the
are
not
dangerous.
well person can take
Mhm.
that and and turn it into something.
They
And
sure can. Have you ever watched someone go down, like, a conspiracy
I
hole to the
think we
point where they
all saw Cody Brown on Sister Wives go
well,
into the manosphere. We saw it.
100,000%. I
Like,
mean, you
he
could
even
see the
said,
chips
"I
in
was
him.
on the internet looking for
Ugh,
support about my wife leaving me,
women are
and I
mean.
got into these groups,
Yep, and
and
he's
they're
the prime for the
anti-women."
picking.
Yeah, yeah. I
When
mean,
I
yeah.
was in college, my ex-boyfriend had a coworker. They were cooks in a kitchen together, and he got really deep into conspiracy theories, and he got deep
Mm,
into Alex Jones. And
ugh.
this was early, like have you ever seen the documentary Zeitgeist?
No.
Okay. Well, that's kind of a gateway for a lot of conspiracy theorists.
Okay.
It's a big for 9/11 deniers.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of goes down that hole.
Yeah.
And he had a coworker who It was nuts. He kind of lost himself in that a little bit, and I had never watched somebody that closely, and it was really scary and intense to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, and I think, I know a lot of parents are struggling with this, with
Mhm.
young men specifically, like being
It
pulled, and I'm not saying the manosphere and this is the same, but
No, but
there's
I
a
know what you're
Venn
saying.
diagram here.
There
Like, you're getting
absolutely
pulled
is.
into a toxic culture that will change your
You need to
psychology.
be mindful of, like, getting
Mhm.
too I don't know what the word I don't wanna say obsessed, but a little bit of an echo chamber can be dangerous, right?
Yeah, and I think what starts to happen is, okay, like, let's take the 9/11 deniers, for
Yeah.
example, which
Mhm.
is, I mean, to you and I, that's horrendous, and we don't even understand it, but
But they
to
would say we
somebody,
were
yeah, to
crazy.
somebody who's, like, believes that, they might be like, "Oh my god, the government is, like, out to get me now,"
Yes.
and that breeds the paranoia, and then
Uh-huh.
that just isolates you, and it's
And
scary.
and this is why it's important. Okay, so I get a lot of shit from people for being a big true crime head. I love it. I always
Yeah.
have since I
No,
was
I
little.
love it too.
And I always say, like bad shit happens in the world. We all
Mhm,
know that.
mhm.
And you should educate yourself. It's
Yeah,
you need to know red flags. You need to, and this
I
falls
agree.
into that. Like, and if you have a friend or someone in your life that especially during COVID when people were isolated and,
Mhm.
you know, everybody had some people they were probably keeping an eye on to make sure they weren't gonna, slip away.
Yep.
And you need to look out for red flags like this in people, and it needs to be something we talk about.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I do think at the end of this, my leaning is, and I know nobody wants to hear this, is
I know.
suicide. I
Mine is too.
I am more inclined to believe that Ray Rivera committed suicide than Ellen Greenberg.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
100%. Like,
Uh-huh.
because the injuries could match,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like, we're not talking about somebody who stabbed themselves in the back 10 times.
I
This
will never
is
let that go.
this is jumping off of a roof. This
Mhm.
is, yeah.
These were high impact injuries, and it's so sad, and I get it, Alice. I get why they wanted Angel and
I
Allison
do
and
too.
Maria.
I
I
do too.
get it, and you have to do what you have to do to survive things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did you see that author also determined at the end of her book that she
Yeah,
thinks he also had a
let
psych
me read that. Now,
Yeah, that was
just so you know, guys, there was another person or friend in Ray's circle named Stephen King. It is not the Stephen
yeah,
King, okay?
talk about that would be a rough name to have if you
So, Makita, in the final chapters of her book, confirms that she too feels Ray experienced a psychotic break.
Mhm.
Signs of delusions are typically the first sign of schizophrenia.
Yeah.
If it was slow and gradual, Ray would have reached a peak of no longer distinguishing reality from delusion. That is her realization for the running jump off the Belvedere rooftop. She
Yeah.
notes this is Ray's colleague Stephen King's theory as well. However, multiple encounters of reporters or individuals Makita reached out to specifically warned her that if she were to dig too deep, her life may become threatened.
I
She
mean,
never did receive anything of that manner and reached out to nearly all parties involved in the investigation.
interesting.
So there's that.
Um, Along with that, one of the things I wanted to say that I forgot when I was reading that Baltimore Sun article,
Hmm.
it was either Brad Hopman or a colleague of his said that he had a high-rise apartment that was like his sometimes place, and
Hmm.
a couple of weeks before this happened, he said Ray had asked him if he could go there by himself, and he had given
Oh,
Ray a key. And he said then Ray ended up giving the key back to him, and he said he just thought that was something that should be of note when people were saying there was nothing suspicious going on. I think he just
wow.
really successfully hid this from Allison because he loved her and he didn't want
Yeah.
her to worry. I
Well, and she traveled a lot for work and she was
Yes,
a sales executive, which, I mean, I worked with salespeople most of my career. It's a hard job and
I
you
could
are gone
never.
all the time.
And if you're
So,
at home,
like,
you're on your phone, you're on your computer,
yeah,
you're
so they
not
may not have been as deeply I don't wanna say they're not connected, I don't mean it that way.
No, I know what you're saying
She
though, but they
may have
weren't like
missed a few things, and that would not be on her.
they're not sitting down
Yeah,
to watch a couple hours of TV in
yeah,
the evening, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah, no, I
yep,
get what you're saying, and,
yep,
and his family was out of state, and people get really good at masking this stuff to protect the people they love.
yeah, Yeah. All right, girl. I think we solved it.
I do too, unfortunately.
I mean, I am so interested to hear from our listeners, though, and to hear what you
Me
guys
too.
think. And
Um,
stay tuned next week. Like I said, if you want to hear the rest of this series, we're going to
yeah.
be going one by one. Even the alien one we're going to talk
I'm
about.
really excited to talk about some of the supernatural stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
because fun. That's why Unsolved Mysteries is fun.
Yeah,
You get a little bit of
if
it
you
all.
want to solve a mystery, come on over to Murder Club. It's $10 a month. You get ad-free episodes. You get a
Yes.
bonus episode each week, sometimes two. For the next
Yeah.
6 weeks, you're going to get two.
It's gonna be awesome.
And there's also a lot of stuff there that we've already covered
Mhm,
that
mhm.
is on there, so you can listen to that.
Absolutely. And Michael Peterson. Amy's Michael Peterson impression alone
I
is well worth
mean,
$10 a month.
I'm gonna miss that little guy when we're done with him, just like I miss Robert Durst when I was done with him.
But I
Yeah,
feel like Michael can live. He can visit. Michael can
yeah,
visit.
yeah. He can visit.
He's
All right, Kyla, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank all of you guys, and we'll see. Well, Kyla and I will see you
Yeah.
tomorrow with
Yes,
Drew
we'll see you
Peterson.
tomorrow. Oh, I'm
But
so
if you're
excited.
here for Unsolved Mysteries, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Murder She Watched. To support the show, please consider joining Murder Club, our Patreon. For $10 a month, you get a bonus episode every week, plus all of our episodes ad-free, and it just helps me pay people and keep the pod going. If you'd like to support us without a financial contribution, please consider leaving a 5-star review on Apple or anywhere you listen to podcasts.